How to identify and remove roadblocks. This is one of 5 videos that I'm doing in a little series for people who want to execute in the field, assistant supers, assistant PMs, PM supers, field engineers, project engineers. Because once you have the right system, we need to make sure that we are clearing the way for the trades as much as possible so that we don't have stops and restarts. When we look at a building, and I'm just going to make this up, let's say you have a building with a podium and you have some other buildings over here. When you look at construction, you don't look at it as like some kind of batch. You look at it like, okay, a train of trades with however many trades is going to weave their way up the tower. A train of trades is going to move their way around the podium, and a train of trades is going to work through this other ancillary building. So really everything in construction is you have zones, and then you have a train of trades moving through those zones. And so what we have to do, we have to make sure that the movement of the train of trades is what's enabled. That's why I call the train of trades the flow unit, because flow is an active verb which indicates motion, and we have to keep this motion smooth. It has to be flowing. If you're on a project site and you have your strategic baseline in the form of a macro level attack plan, and this strategic baseline shows you the strategy to finish that job, and I'm not talking about a CPM baseline. CPM baselines are fairly worthless. I explain that in other videos. But if you have a strategic baseline and you have a meeting system where literally every week you look at the strategy and the procurement, and then you do your pull plans, look ahead plans, weekly work plans. Then every day you do your afternoon foreman huddle so you can communicate the next morning in the morning worker huddle. And literally that cycle repeats every day, day in and day out. Then you're set up. So you have your strategic baseline and your meeting system. But if you're an assistant super, assistant PM, PE, field engineer that's charged with making sure that the work is flowing beautifully in the field, you have to make sure that you have roadblock identification and removal as one of your number 1 priorities. And this is how you do it. There's a couple different ways. Number 1, let's go ahead and focus on the Trade Partner Weekly Tactical. And there's 2 filters here, and you can do this directly from Intact, or you can do this in another software or Excel or however you want. But the bottom line is, if you want to start the right way, you will see your 6-week or 4-week look ahead with their activities, and you'll notice they still have diagonal trade flow. But in that weekly meeting, this happens once a week, you are going to, on that look ahead plan, set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes with the trades and say, hey trades, I need you to spend some time finding the roadblocks out ahead. And we do this in training to great effect. Somebody says, oh, well, my labor didn't show up. That's not a roadblock you're looking for in this 6-week look ahead. You're looking for, is that mechanical equipment on track? Are those permissions on track? Is that RFI going to be answered in time? Is that shipment from overseas going to make it on time? You're looking for roadblocks there so that you can plan ahead. Because the idea here is, if this is week 6, so between week indicator 5 and 6, you find the roadblocks, and then literally the weekly work plan, which is this and next week, is when you want to have that cleared. You basically have between week indicator 2 and week indicator 5 to remove those roadblocks. If you find the roadblocks here, you're trying to get rid of them between that week indicator 5 and week indicator 2. You basically have, out of the 6 weeks, you have 4 weeks of time to try and remove those roadblocks for the purpose of clearing the way of the train of trades. Because if something's in the way of the train of trades, it's going to stop, and you're going to have stops and restarts. The key here is to find and remove roadblocks, and the best habit is to literally set apart a time in those Trade Partner Weekly Tacticals. Now, the other thing you do in the Trade Partner Weekly Tactical, I'll mark this LA for look ahead. This is your weekly work plan. You coordinate a weekly work plan, and this one's a little bit different. It looks more like a Gantt chart because everything's on its own line, but in here as well, you're going to be coordinating handoffs, and hopefully the work's cleared. But one more time, do I have any roadblocks that are going to affect us? And spend your time attempting to remove them. That's actually the same thing, but in a different meeting. In the afternoon foreman huddle, this was method 2. Method 3 is in your day plan, whatever that looks like. Typically, I like to have the schedule, the zone and logistics maps, and then an agenda. In the day plan, planning the next day, I'm literally going to ask, are there any change points or problems in that plan so that I can try and remove them the day before? So 6 weeks ahead, a week ahead, or 1 or 2. This is a little bit dynamic. And the day before, do we have roadblocks? Do we have roadblocks? Do we have roadblocks? When you're doing these meetings, if you have your conference room and this is the front wall, and these are your 2 screens, don't skimp out on the screens, project managers, and you have your wall on the left and you have your wall on the right, I want to see a big, what they call axonometric 3D expanded view of the project over here, and trade partners putting up little red magnets on that wall before your meetings here even start. And the agenda for your Trade Partner Weekly Tactical and your Afternoon Foreman Huddle are mainly the removal of these roadblocks, so that the next day when you go communicate the plan to the workers, hopefully it is roadblock free. Constraints are something else. I'm so disappointed in the industry for calling everything constraints. Something in the way that needs to be removed is called a roadblock. We need to remove these roadblocks so that the next day when you're communicating things to the workers and they've come from the parking lot and they've come over here to the worker huddle area and you're communicating the plan to everybody, you are letting them scan a QR code and they can see a plan that's roadblock free so that their train of trades can flow without interruption. Now, will you sometimes find in the field some problems that you need to solve? Absolutely, but this should be the rare exception. Bad behaving superintendent will fight most of their fires here. An effective, good behaving superintendent will find most of their problems and remove them here. And so this is crucial. And if you start doing this fanatically, day in and day out, like all over the place, red, 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 we're finding red roadblocks with red magnets all the time, to where people come and they're freaking out. These people have problems. Then you get to a corporate culture where, no, that's good. Bring all problems to the surface. Like there's red everywhere, but it's not red. It's clear out in the field. That's a winning job site. That's how you remove roadblocks and create flow in the field. What's going to happen for you is you have 2 indicators. You have your percent plan complete, percent promises complete, or the better one is your perfect handoff percentage. This perfect handoff percentage is better than percent plan complete because percent plan complete tracks all activities, even workable backlog and non-path of critical flow activities, but your perfect handoff percentage will only identify needed handoffs and whether or not you're making them. And so what you're going to see is that both of these will go above your desired 80% and beyond, and you will actually be implementing in the short interval, which will also take care of your overall strategic plan. And you're monitoring this in your meeting system. Let me close out by saying one thing. The purpose of all of your meetings, the purpose of all planning is not to predict. It's to find problems with the plan that you're targeting so you can remove them before crews get there. Why do we host meetings? To find and remove problems. Why do we have a plan? To find and remove problems. Why do we have a project delivery team? To find and remove problems. Bring all problems to the surface because there's no such thing as problems being a problem. The only problem is if we think we don't have them and then we don't try and solve them. So I'll turn this into a graphic and a blog post and reach out to us if you need help. Our software Intact tracks roadblocks. We have great visual systems. We can help you with the maps. We have great logs for you. If you're not using Intact, we can help you. And the book Tact, Steering, and Control shows you what different roadblocks there are, their root causes, how to fix them, and how to run the meeting system. It's beautiful. Please check it out. We'll put that in the description below. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.